And some say, some claim, how about that? Some claim that there were weapons on the boat, that there were other intentions. But the reality is the thing we can all agree is that the Israelis boarded one of the ships and turned it back and have not allowed these ships, as far as I know, to land in Gaza. Right? Am I right about that?
Totally wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. The flotilla was a mission force of 3 boats carrying humanitarian aid. Books, paper, cement, toys, medicines to the besieged Palestinians who are now 4 years in a siege with 70 to 80% malnutrition. Horrifying conditions. I completely dispute the idea that there is dispute about what was on the boat. Before the boat were caught, the Israelis argued that this boat may carry weapons or something that can used by the Palestinians. As a matter of fact, once the boat were delivered to were towed to an Israeli port, to Ashdod, none of that assumptions were approved. There was nothing was found on the boat. Okay. In international water, 70 miles from Gaza, the Israelis raided the boats using their highest trained military commando, Fleet 13, not a policing force, a unit that is trained to kill, Everything tend to be the Israelis executed, and people are welcome to check it out in YouTube. There are clear visions of Israeli executing peace activists, delivering humanitarian aid, executed 9 people and injured another 50. This is the story. Saying that, I'm correspondence rule. This is reality that is not disputed, and as we know, the Israelis are now probing it, and what they are actually investigating is those very details. Now, my take on the subject is very clear and very devastating. I argue that what happened on the boat is a repetition of the killing of Christ. And this is a very strong statement. There is no connection between the ancient Israelite and the Israelis. There is no racial, biological connection at all. This is clear. However, it is the same ideology that assaulted the kindest of all people that happened 3 weeks ago to assault a humanitarian aid, the most obvious form of kindness and compassion made by international peace activists, people from all over the world, including America, including some diplomats from America and veteran soldiers, Navy soldiers. Now, it is not very surprising that the ideology that killed Christ appears suddenly. Why it is not very surprising? Because the whole idea behind Zionism, behind the creation of Israel, was to bring to life the ancient Israelite nation. And they were very successful. They managed. So it is not surprising at all that with the revival of the ancient Israelite nation, they as well managed to bring to life that biblical barbarian attitude that is reflected in some writing in the Bible and is known to us as well as the killing of Christ. A total assault on humanism. And I'm very devastated by it. Why? Because, as I read in the Times 3 weeks ago, there are at the moment 3 Israeli nuclear submarines stationed in the Gulf. Stationed in the Gulf.
Persian Gulf.
In Persian Gulf, for sure, sorry. In the Persian Gulf. When we see how unwitty the Israeli decisions are, I think that we have very good reason to be afraid. And again, I go back to the Holocaust. Why? Because 3 years after the liberation of Auschwitz, the most horrible place ever, and I would agree with you about it, 3 years after that event, the Israeli ethnically cleansed 80% of the Palestinian people. And how is it that after Jews suffered so much, what happened in Germany, with a lot of it was a German counter move to Jewish infiltration into German banking, into German politics, like the case of Rathenau. They're making the same mistake. Why do they make the same mistake? Because they don't learn from their past. This is why I insist that we must revise the past. To learn the past and to revise it and to reshape it is our only chance to bring hope to this world.
I have a question for you. Can we include the revision of the fact that 80% of Palestinians were ethnically cleansed? Shouldn't we revise that too?
Yeah, you are
Should
welcome to do it.
Revise that too?
Yeah.
And then
I think it lowers the potential level of the conversation to talk about the individual cases. I know it's an excruciating important point.
I agree
but
with you.
The point I'm getting from this is that what's happening here today on a public access television station, which is so crucial to the United States, this kind of free speech, it's those spaces that we have to create and preserve. So when you say go back and revise, you're not saying change the numbers based upon your feeling of changing the numbers.
No, I'm not talking about my feeling.
What I'm getting is we've got to go back and allow for the space to re-examine. There should be no questions that are too holy to examine.
But I just want to point out, for the record here, that you have made a statement about what happened on the flotillas, and you said this is indisputable fact.
No,
right?
it is very clear.
There's only one version of this, and this is the version.
One
right?
minute. No.
Did I misunderstand?
No, I said that there is no dispute. Right. For instance, if the Israelis...
I know there's a dispute.
No,
there is a
one
dispute.
minute, one minute.
No, there is a dispute.
You're talking about different points. You're
where
is a dispute?
No, sorry, I'll be very accurate here. Would the Israelis come and say, sorry guys, we found TNT on the flotilla, on the Mavi Marmara, for instance? We found ingredients that would allow the Palestinians to create an atomic bomb or WMD or whatever. Then there would be a dispute. To date, there is no dispute. Would the Israeli come with something as such? Then there would be a dispute. But at the moment, there is no dispute. What the Israeli managed to find on the boat, which is slightly pathetic, they managed to find sticks that the Turkish peace activists managed to found on board. And by the way, if I would be on board, I would do exactly the same.
You're missing my point.